We're waiting for it. Now we should be recording. And the recording starts now. Make sure I have the right mics up. I do flip mics around during the week. And streaming? Are we lucky enough to have recording and streaming? Oh, it's streaming. Hi, Facebook people. No. Cannot publish. Oh, I forgot to update the URL. Hold on. One sec, Craig.
All right. Let me go share this file, this video, a file.
I forgot to give it a new URL for this week. Streaming, is it?
Are we streaming?
Videos. Anyone? Waiting for it to come up live. Checking. We're checking.
Oh,
ready.
Here we are.
Most streaming things. There we are. Most streaming things take a minute or two, and there's a latency from when we say something to the time it comes back up. All right. So, if you are watching this, either now or later,
yeah.
If you're watching it now, you're watching it now. If you're watching it later, you're still watching it now. So when is this? This is now.
Huh?
When is that? That was then. Spaceballs.
There. I shared it with some Rush lyrics this time.
Rush lyrics. You usually do the music thing?
Yeah, I always just grab some lyrics from a song when I share a video.
Sure it is.
It's out of context, but I don't care.
Okay. Share now or share public? Share. And we say fruit juice.
I shared some of the lyrics from Fly By Night from Rush.
It's like Clinton's podcast. Comedy Forecast is the official podcast of rubber bands, floor mats,
that's right,
license plates, and Greek children.
Greek children.
He makes up 4 random things. I don't know where he gets these things from. They're really great. Wish I'd thought of that. Well, I would have just done one. He does it sort of like the beginning of Sesame Street. You know, today's podcast is brought to you by. We could do that.
The letter A.
No. Something more geeky. We can do that.
Oh no, I know. I'm just saying.
Technorama episode 532 is brought to you by 5K resistors.
The official podcast of floppy disks.
No, he does the official podcast of.
Oh,
we bring you the letter, like Sesame Street is brought to you by the letter A and the number. So we could say, brought to you by the letter Rho.
Rho?
Don't you know your Greek letters?
Sure. Rho.
This is the beginning of the insanity we call Technorama. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. We're just giving people a chance to jump in. John Miller Jr.'s on, live from the interwebs.
Of course.
It's Technorama Podcast. Yes,
oh, did I close? I closed my browser tab.
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, and you know what's funny?
Now where are all those browser pages going to get employment if you close? Yes.
This bugs the crap out of me when you get on somebody's WebEx and they got every one of their tabs. They got so many, they're tiny.
Yes. You can barely make out the icon. Like,
yeah.
How do you get anything done?
That's what I'm saying. And they go, oh, let me find it. And they're like searching through the little thumbnails.
You are the most unproductive person. And you're probably one of those people that has 4,500 unread email. I'm not sending you email because you're not going to get anything done with it anyway.
I usually have probably about 3 or 4 tabs at any given time. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. But none that I can't just look and see the title. Not enough so I can't see the titles.
When I do the live stream for work, I have them set in a specific order so that I know where they are. There's the community, then there's a community inbox, Then there's my personal developer instance, then the doc site, then the developer site. And as I open more community conversations in new tabs, they get pushed onto the left side right after the tab that they were launched from. So it makes sense that there's consistency. When people just go random, I start doing references for like projects and go, oh, how much is this on Amazon? Open a new tab. How much is that on Amazon? Open a new tab. Oh, I need information about that. Go over to siliconspecs.org. And I open them up. And you're right. After about 7 or 8 of them, I'm going, what? It's sort of like having dishes on the counter. After a while, you have no more counter. You have to do the dishes. You have to put them away. I can stand a few cups, but I can't stand the whole counter consumed by dishes.
Right. I just don't understand.
Browser tabs are. You'll never get anything done.
Yeah, I've seen people go. Well, the thing about work, our ServiceNow instance is when you use ServiceNow and you open a new tab,
it starts to open tabs. It starts to open tabs for you.
Well, when you have if you duplicate your tab, just want to keep my place for a minute.
Yeah.
Your navigation history gets a little weird
because it's all one session. Yeah.
If you go too far, and so so I'm like, well, I don't need more than one tab open for at least one instance. I may have another one to jump into something else. But
if you do, depending on what you're doing, you can have 4 or 5 or 6 tabs open just for that one instance. You start with your main window, and then Studio opens. Studio opens a workflow editor. Workflow editor opens. Yeah. Then you're into the script debugger. Then you open service portals, and you start doing widgets. And before you know, you've got 5 or 6 or 7 on that one instance. And that's fine because they're discrete functionalities. But if you pile that on top of, your 18 Google windows, it's like, what? Does a human really need more than one search at a time?
No.
Anyway, we're not here to talk productivity and beat.
I will mention one more thing.
Yeah.
I will admit if I think I've got to come back to some stuff later.
Okay.
I will either bookmark it in Evernote or sometimes Todoist if it's something I got to come back to later in the day or something.
Right. Or if it's just okay, I've got a side tangent. I'll open a new browser window and just a few more tabs there. So I'll have 3 on this one and 4 on that one, and I can keep them separate because these 3 were for this particular project, doing research, whatever, and this new window. And then what happens is I'll get distracted and I'll forget all about the old window. I'll come back to it later in the day and go, oh, that's right. That's what happens when you open too many windows at a time is you lose them.
Hey, and I did, in ServiceNow, on my instance, I have a user. His name is Girk Epitz, which is my name backwards.
Yes.
So I can log into him in another browser window. So if I'm testing something, I can go see what it looks like for that user.
Yeah, handy feature of Chrome is to have those profiles.
It's evil Craig with
the goatee.
Girk Epitz.
we used to do that in high school too. I was Cellrock Izamat.
It actually sounds pretty cool. If I ever write a book, I'm a
like Theodore Geisel,
Girk Epitz. So if you see Girk Epitz in Amazon, you'll know where it came from.
Like Dr. Seuss did?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Shall we begin our regular show?
Finally,
now that we have all 10,000 of our listeners online and watching live, we appreciate that. Almost as many as we had for Thursday's webinar at work. I think that was the biggest online audience I've ever addressed at any one time.
You know what? It's funny because we started and I was like, oh, cool, got a question. Oh, this is... And then our mediator said, hey, wait, some of the support questions I'm answering. I was like, oh, okay, sorry. So I backed off of those, and then all of a sudden it went 10, 12, 30. I'm like, whoa, where are all these questions coming from?
We were doing a webinar, for those that are watching, we were doing a webinar for work on Thursday, and we changed the way we do this. We had been doing these with YouTube Live, and we'd normally have about 20 people live, and rarely would we get any questions. We did have one in December that got up to 98, and that was like, wow, that was a big audience. We blew that number out of the water. We changed from doing YouTube Live to this third-party service that we do with a lot of others, And the reason we got so many viewers is because they sent out mailings to whoever I told them to send out mailings to. They sent out invites, official event, and said, mark your calendar, put this on your calendar. And people did. And because of that marketing pre-roll spiel, we had over 1,000 live viewers online at one point. And it's probably more than that as people came and went. And but Dave Slusher was doing his presentation, and Craig and I were doing all we could with sore fingers to keep up with the questions. And we still had over 50 in the backlog when we finished the hour. Going, we're going to answer these offline. It was crazy. We were not prepared for that level of activity. It was sort of like when you're watching like HQ or some other popular thing, and the chats are just going by so fast you can't even read them. Like,
we went from 5 to 10 questions maybe on a regular one to the new system. We had
5 to 10 a minute. It seemed like.
Yeah. I was drinking from the fire hose.
It was all fun though.
Billy, you found the marble in the oatmeal. Go drink from the fire hose.
Okay, we'll talk about quotes in a little bit. Let's begin the show now that we're well into this.
Let's see.
Okay, here we go with the recording on the audio. Technorama episode 532, Three-Piece Spacesuit.
Good morning, folks. This is your captain speaking.
Technorama.
Remember when?
Technorama.
On this day in tech history.
Tech.
And now, the news.
Tech.
What the chuck?
Technorama.
Welcome to Blockhead Video.
Where can I find the 6 Infinity Stones?
Over there, in the media corner.
Technorama.
Hold my beer and watch this.
Unfasten your seatbelts and disregard all safety rules. Here are your flight crew, Chuck and Craig.
What is the price of the Infinity Stones anyway?
I was going to say, what are you checking your list? 5. No, 6.
7 is right out. Welcome to Technorama. This is the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. My camera's a little bit on the low side. There. Fix that up.
Sure.
My name is Chuck Tomasi. If you're joining us for the first time, thank you for joining us. If you're coming back, you're a returning listener / viewer, welcome back. We appreciate you giving us your time. Joining me as always is Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm excited because I travel this week.
You are going to be traveling on Thursday.
Yes, and I'm also excited because the week after will cap off this crazy last 2 months of development.
2, 4, 5 seems like.
Well, it's been super crazy the last 2 months.
Work has been crazy. Getting ready for our annual conference at work. Speaking
of drinking from the fire hose.
It's not so much fire hose, it's cat herding.
That is,
I can get my stuff done. Why can't everybody else get their stuff done?
You have no idea. I mean, you have an idea.
Doctor, it hurts when I bend my leg this way.
Yeah.
And it just fell off. It's a little late to go to the doctor.
Yeah, I've actually learned a couple of tricks this year from dealing. I mean, just to give you a little background, I'm working on the back end of a conference. We're working on building out these labs for people to do, take classes on the material at the conference. Well, I'm handling the technical part of it, and then you get all these. I got about 200 people trying to develop labs, and like Chuck said, it's just been cat herding, and I've been scratched and
mutilated,
mutilated,
and then someone drops more kittens on your porch.
Yeah, hey, here you go. Yeah, what's this bag? What's in this bag? Oh, more kittens. So, but yes, the last couple months has been high intensity, but it's coming to a head, and it's gonna be good.
It's always a lot of fun. It's always a lot of work.
It is. I mean, it's rewarding. It is a lot of work. So I'm not complaining. It's just that it's a lot to take in, all at once. So
it's a challenge. All right, we have some feedback. Should we do that?
Yes.
There we go.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Ding, 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 ding.
Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters.
Got a heavy one. Got a heavy
Find out
one.
what you got to say. Oh boy. Mailman, mail today.
So I think we cleared up the mystery that the mailman reached into the bag, pulled one out, opened it up, and read it for you. That
breaking the
song
law.
will never be the same again. and the one that the mailman handed me after he illegally opened it up is from Fritz Ulrich Seward. Do you know this person?
I do not.
I do not either. Must be a new listener. Hello, Chuck and Craig. I'm a little late with my suggestion, but there's already a beer here in Germany with a nerd name called Bit Sun. I like it.
I'm willing to try it.
He's got a URL in there. You can find it in our show notes. Thank you for making me smile on my commute to work on the Autobahn. Fritz from Germany. I think that's the
Wow.
first time we've heard from Fritz. Thank you very much.
That's the first time we've heard and I got an email from the Autobahn.
That's right. Well, he didn't say he was on the Autobahn when he was writing this.
Well, you don't know. He said we made him smile on his commute to work on the Autobahn.
Dankeschön, Fritz. And my German doesn't go much further than that,
That's right.
except for Gesundheit.
Yeah. Buenos noches. Oh, wait.
No, not even close. We did have a rather entertaining thread for our question of the week.
Why, yes, we did.
Well, yes, we did. I posted it this afternoon, and it got traffic. How about that?
Yeah, I can't believe it got some major traction, didn't it?
I love it.
I'm having
Our
to scroll
question
way
of the
up.
week last week was, what is your favorite quote? And I didn't want people to gravitate right to movies. We've done that before. This is
Yes.
movies, parents, kids, friends, just so much to choose from. That's what I left
Pink
it at.
Floyd.
My sister says there's no place like home, which I can agree with. Former classmate said...
Wait a minute.
Yes,
Say her name, because everybody knows her name.
my sister Martha.
Thank you.
We call her Marty. I'm just going to pick and choose a few
Marty.
of these. When Vicky writes, when the girls are upset over something ridiculous, she says, pick up the pieces of your shattered lives and move on.
Wow.
That's pretty harsh, but okay.
That sounds like one of those things your 8-year-old with no filter tells you. You know how kids
Yes.
don't lie. They just
And they probably heard it from some movie that you never saw,
yeah.
and you think it's funny. There was another one down here. Tiffany says, once is funny, twice is naughty, 3 times is time out. Used frequently at my house. Longtime listener Weber Baker says, it's not good. It's not going to get any greener. My mother would say that when the person in front of her was at a green light and didn't move.
It's not-
We used to say,
I like
waiting for
that.
any particular shade of green.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
What else do we have in here? Rob Real says, it's always better to be a smartass than a dumbass, which I've heard many times and used many times.
Yes.
Oh, let's see. What else do we have?
Oh, To Infinity and Beyond.
Yep.
Cindy Adamson.
Brad Miller says, well, I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. Such a fine sight to see. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me. And he says, just a lot of imagery in that.
Yeah, it is.
I agree 100%. Mike Wills says, hold my beer. And then my good friend Steve, who I believe doesn't listen to it, he says, you forgot the second half of the quote. Watch this. I said, that's how we start our podcast. Hold my beer and watch this.
That's how most things end up in the emergency room around here.
That's what he said. He said it also precedes most car, bike, ATV, skiing, and skydiving accidents in Wisconsin.
Actually, I think in South Carolina, that's the motto. Hey, y'all, watch this.
What else do we got in here that entertained you?
One I threw in there. If I can toot my own horn here.
Yeah, I guess you think you're your funniest own person.
Yeah, was Jesse Ventura when he said, "I ain't got time to bleed," in The Predator.
Oh, we also have what else do we have? Red Hastings. Chew if only you could see what I've seen with your eyes from Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you spelled chew right. I thought it was CHU. But lots of good stuff. If you want to continue the discussion in here, go ahead and jump right in. I asked that on Sunday. If you're not following me on Facebook, well, I encourage you to. It's a whole lot of fun. and you'll get noticed about, this show going live, that kind of stuff.
Hey, wait. By the way, this is Scott Tyler's, and I read it in Bruce Willis's voice. Welcome to the party, pal. From Die Hard.
Yep.
The greatest
Absolutely.
Christmas movie ever.
Thank you very much for everyone who contributed. That was a lot of fun, and we will have another question at the end of this show. Which means it must be time for...
Hey, and by the way, wait a minute. If it's
Sorry, I hit the button right as you said that. It was involuntary.
And due to it being a podcast here, we'll probably get quotes for the next 2 months.
I don't mind. Send them along.
Bring it.
If you're listening to this in June of 2025 or later, you are
still
more than
podcasting.
welcome. I plan on still podcasting. We'll be, 20 years old at that time.
I'm going to ride this train till...
Officially, this goes out May 2nd. The audio gets released May 2nd. And that is the day after our 13-year anniversary of this show.
Yes.
This show is now going into its 14th year.
Happy birthday.
That's crazy.
Yes.
How many podcasts are still around from 2004, 2005 that are still going?
There's a few, but
few.
not as many as you think or you would hope.
Not as many that started out back then, that's for sure.
That's right. There was a lot that was launched that year.
I have a cat screaming in the hall, and I'm about to sneeze. Oh, I swear there must be cat hair on this microphone because I do this when I'm doing work all the time. It was one of those aborted sneezes that just makes your eyes swell up. I can't read. Let's do the history
brain
thing.
damage. Causes brain damage, man.
Causes eye damage. On this day in history for May 2nd, 2018, this is the 122nd day of the year of the Gregorian calendar. There are 243 days remaining in 2018. It was on this date in 1611 that the King James Bible, the King James Version of the Bible, is first published forthwith to thine London on thine England by said thouest printer Robert Barkerist.
Okay. And 112 years ago today, closing ceremonies of the intercalated games in Athens, Greece.
Intercalated. I wonder if that was like the first Olympics that didn't have a name.
Let's say, what is intercalated anyway?
We'll have to go on Wikipedia and look that up.
It's the insertion of molecules between the planar bases and... Never mind. Go ahead. The wrong version of the word.
Also on May 2nd, 1918, General Motors acquires the Chevrolet Motor Company of Delaware.
And it was on this date in 1920 that the first game of the Negro National League Baseball is played in Indianapolis.
Far out. The same date in 1952, the world's first ever jetliner, the de Havilland Comet 1, makes its maiden flight from London all the way to Johannesburg. I think they might have had to stop for refueling here and there.
Okay. And it was also on this date in 1969 that the British ocean liner Queen Elizabeth II departs on her maiden voyage to New York City.
The city of Chernobyl is evacuated 6 days after the nuclear power plant disaster on this date in 1986. Wow, that doesn't seem like that long ago.
I know. Also on this date, in May 2nd, 2000, President Bill Clinton announces that accurate GPS access would no longer be restricted to the United States military.
Someday we're all going to have these in our car.
Yeah. Well, he was a visionary.
And then we're going to release the space meals for everybody. Never mind, nobody eats those
I just
things.
want to keep track of all the women within 3 feet of me.
These women will use this as a restraining order. I'm not so sure I like this. Happy birthday calls on this date to English historian and topographer William Camden. Born on this date in 1551. I wonder if Camden Town is named after him.
I don't know. Go look it up. Italian composer Alessandro Scarletti
Close enough.
Was born 358 years ago today.
Canadian physician and geologist Abraham. You know what I just realized? If you're not in this studio, you can't read the... Well, if you download the show notes, you can. But I thought, someone just
What's
listening in their car on the Autobahn isn't going to know if we're right or wrong. They'll obviously know that wasn't an Italian name, though.
Yeah. All right.
Canadian
magic of podcasting.
physician and geologist Abraham Pinio Gessner was born today in 1797.
And German chemist and physicist Henrik Gustav Magnus was born 216 years ago today.
That sounds like the name of a bad guy in a movie.
Yeah.
My name is Heinrich Gustav Magnus.
And you will die.
Desiree Charnay, French archaeologist and photographer, was born on the same date in 1828.
E. Smith, the American engineer and author, was born 128 years ago today.
I wonder if he invented the EEPROM.
Yeah. Right. He got tired of not being able to burn it.
German captain and pilot Manfred von Richthofen was born 126 years today. You know what he's better known as?
What? Oh, wait.
It's on the. He's getting it.
No.
Red Baron.
Oh, yeah. Indian archaeologist B.B. Lal. Wow, I'm just amazed there's two people with
initials.
Initials, yeah.
He
He's
invented the
97
BB
today.
gun.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's a known fact.
Is it really? Shut up.
All right, I'm
going along with
I
this.
stole that from Ben and Keith, and apparently it worked.
Right.
Anytime
not
they
as
come up with
gullible
some
as I look.
ridiculous fact, they say it's a known fact.
A known
It's
fact.
on the internet.
A known fact. I'll start saying that.
I heard it on Technorama. It must be true.
People at work ask me a question. Hey, it's a known fact.
Also, by that same date in 1939, Japanese physicist and engineer Sumio Ijima. I can't tell from this font what that first letter is. It's either capital I or capital lowercase l. Ijima.
Yeah. And also turning 68 today is English chemist and academic Simon Gaskell.
Nicely done. Listener birthdays this week include longtime listener K.L. Wright on the 3rd. Also, Leon, who's one of our crack... what do we call him? Patreons.
Yeah, we always see him somewhere at Dragon Con.
That's right. Whether you want to or not, it's an accident waiting to happen. Joe Machowski, I hope. It's the host of On the Podcast. I hope that's still around too, is on the 5th.
Nope.
We have 3 birthdays on the 6th. Amber Pace, not really a listener, but the mother and wife of listeners. Good for you. Secondhand Technorama can be dangerous. Bill Barber on the 6th, Steve Bickle on the 6th, and finally Curtis Parrish on the 8th. That's the way it was on this day in history for May 2nd, 2018. Right on time.
Yay!
If you want to be on the birthday calendar and you want to get your name at the right time, shout it out at the right time of the year, go over to chuckchat.com/wiki, which is right there, down there on the bottom of the screen, and put your name in there. Not your screen, my screen. Go to Facebook and look. It'll come up in just a sec. Because our wonderful videographer, our beautiful videographer is going to put that up there. See how that works?
Yes.
I have ESPN. I know it's going to happen in sports before it happens. Go over there. We'll give you a shout out. If it's your birthday and you didn't get it on the birthday calendar this year, happy birthday to you. We wish you all of the best. All right. We need a... Here.
Bad news, nobody.
Oh,
that's bad news, all right.
This is bad news. I was looking for the bad news.
Bad news for you, Chuck.
Why is it bad news for me?
Uranus smells like rotten eggs.
That just sounds like a second grader's joke gone horribly wrong. It's like, yeah, it's confirmed.
I guess she used to say it like Uranus.
Yeah,
smells like rotten.
That's the. Oh, we changed the name of that planet 700 years ago because of that joke. Well, what's it called now? Eurectum. Good old Futurama, always good for a laugh. There's a lot of really smelly stuff wafting around Uranus. The clouds in Uranus' upper atmosphere are composed largely of hydrogen sulfide, the molecule that makes rotten eggs so stinky, a new study says. Quote, if an unfortunate human were to ever descend through Uranus clouds, they would be met with a very unpleasant and odoriferous conditions, study lead author Patrick Irwin of Oxford University in England said in a statement.
A run-on
And
sentence there, isn't it?
we read. Well, I may have made it just sound like a run-on sentence. But the wayward pioneer would have bigger problems, he added. Suffocation and exposure to the negative 200 degrees Celsius atmosphere.
Yeah, the smell is not your highest problem.
It smells like death.
Yeah.
It's made mostly of hydrogen, helium, and methane. Would take a toll on it long before the smell. Yeah. That'd be the last thing you smell. Researchers have long wondered about the composition of the clouds high up in Uranus's sky, specifically whether they're dominated by ammonia ice, as Jupiter and Saturn, or by hydrogen sulfide ice. The answer was proved elusive. The answer has proved elusive because it's tough to make observations with the required detail on distant Uranus. Not only are Jupiter and Saturn closer to the Earth, they have also hosted dedicated orbiter missions. Uranus has been visited just once by a brief flyby by Voyager 2 in January of 86. Oh my, it's so sad. Only one visitor, and it's been 30... Well, how many years has the planet been out there before it got any visitors? Consider yourself lucky.
Actually, John Miller Jr. says, Uranus smelt it and dealt it.
Hey, no. So I think we pretty much wore that story out. They're
We wiped that
figuring
one.
this stuff out.
We wiped that story out.
There's a ring around Uranus. Okay, you want to take the next one?
Sure. Let's move that.
This
Let's
is
move
another
along.
bad news one. It's putting people out of jobs.
Yes. So robot launched weather balloons in Alaska hasten the demise of remote stations. Last Thursday before 3 p.m., things began stirring inside the truck-sized box that sat among the melting piles of snow at the airport in Fairbanks, Alaska. Inside, software ran checks, on instruments to measure the atmospheric temperature, humidity, and pressure. A tray slid into place. A nozzle began to fill a large balloon with gas. Speaking of Uranus. And sorry. Finally, the roof of the box yawned open, and a weather balloon took off in the sunny afternoon, instruments dangling. The entire launch was triggered with the touch of a button 5 kilometers away from in an office at the National Weather Service. The flight was smooth, just one of hundreds of twice daily balloon launches around the world that radio back crucial data for weather forecasting. But most of these balloons were launched by people. The robotic launchers, which are rolling out across Alaska, are proving to be controversial. NWS says that the launchers will save money and free up staff to work on other pressing matters, but representatives of the employee union question their reliability and say that they will hasten the end of Alaska's remote weather offices, where forecasting duties and hours have already been slashed. The auto launcher is just another nail in the coffin, says Kimberly Vaughn, a union steward in Juneau.
I don't know that I could say anybody's looking forward to going to Alaska to launch weather balloons. If that's your career objective, stay in school, kids. I know that there's probably a lot more to that I'm not understanding, but this seems like a perfect application for robotics. Am I wrong?
As long as there's somebody there to replenish the balloons after they take off.
Agreed. Someone's got to do maintenance on these things.
I assume they come back down. I don't know how that works. That
they get up to a certain height, then they explode, and the cargo comes back down, sometimes retrievable, sometimes not.
On the weather balloons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you know about weather balloons?
Some. I mean, I've seen the balloons that Google and Facebook have been launching. They were working on the internet
gas
stuff.
bag.
Yeah,
they're expandable. They don't have a lot of. They're a lot smaller, obviously, down here at launch level, and they have a rope or some sort of line dangling from the bottom of the balloon with a box of instruments that measures your pressure and your humidity and all that stuff. And then the sort of It's a radar reflector, so that something doesn't fly into it. So you can see it coming on the radar.
It's like a silver balloon. I mean, it's
well, no, the balloon itself is round. It may change shape as it gets higher in the atmosphere. As the pressure gets lower, the balloon expands. But part of what's on this line is almost like a diamond-shaped thing, but it's in 3D. So it's got an X, Y, and a Z. So whenever you hit it with the radar, it bounces back a signal to you.
Oh, you mean that? Okay, gotcha.
So that's it. It's sort of like those things. Not the round ones, but you see on the power lines near airports.
Are you talking about the orange balls?
And they transmit the data back.
Yeah.
As they get higher in the atmosphere, because there's still a very effective way of doing weather forecasting. Satellites can give you a picture of what's coming in a very wide range.
Well, they can't really measure the atmosphere as a balloon's going up.
They're not going to tell you what the humidity is at 15,000 feet versus 20,000 feet versus 25,000 feet.
Yeah,
they're still very predictable. And like you said, we're going to need people to service these stations. You're going to need to replenish the supply of balloons, gas, instruments.
I mean, I think if you wanted to get into this field, launching the balloon would not be what I wanted to do. I would want to
analyze the data,
maybe analyze the data, do the research or whatever. So, yeah.
We also have wonderful science news today. This came in this past week. I thought it was very intriguing from someone who's recently undergone medical procedure, not this particular procedure, but Engadget writes, someday every piece of a person will be replaceable. And this is getting right up there with the fanciful stuff that was unimaginable just a few years ago.
Yeah.
In the past half-decade, medical science has made tremendous advances in reproductive organ transplant techniques. In the span of just 4 years, we've seen the first successful penile transplant, the first child born from a transplanted uterus, and as of Monday, this past week, the world's first full male genital transplant surgery. Now, you can do snickering or whatever, but the situation is pretty serious for this patient. During a 14-hour marathon operation, a team of doctors at Johns Hopkins University grafted the penis and scrotum from a donor cadaver onto a U.S. military member who had his own genitals destroyed during his service in Afghanistan. If you can enrich the lives of somebody to this degree, this is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes you wonder what's next. What's even more wild is that this isn't just state-of-the-art. This isn't just state-of-the-art medical procedure. It's par for the course in terms of transplant technology. Transplants are a very exciting field right now. Very exciting time, and there's a lot going on. Dr. Jonathan Dacona, Associate Professor of Cardiothoracic Surgery and Chief of Lung Transplant Divisions. Wow, but he does quite a few transplants at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, told Engadget. It doesn't matter whether it's general urinary transplant or lungs or heart or liver, kidney. They all have different aspects and components to which then we're trying to push the field further and further. So I'm thinking like any other transplant, this person's going to have to take the anti-rejection drugs. Because it's
quite tissue. Possibly. Yeah, I would imagine so.
So it is a life-changing thing. I talk regularly with a guy who had a kidney transplant, and he's got a regular astronaut's picnic full of pills that he's got to take every morning. He says he takes like 12 in the morning and 10 at night. And but hey, he's still kicking. He's got his daughter's kidney that's working fine. Good to have people around, and it's just a wonderful time to have technology like this.
I'll tell you, I've heard stories upon story, especially everything from just a hip replacement to knee surgery.
There was a recent story about a guy who had his whole face and like the lower half of his skull, his upper jaw, lower jaw, that was all replaced.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of that's coming. Again, I've seen people with their knees replaced, and they're walking around really unnoticeable. They had anything done to
have that done in a few years.
Yeah. So, but still, I think it's pretty amazing some of the advances. Now, I do know somebody this weekend, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. It didn't happen this weekend, but he had cut the tip of his thumb off, or the top part of his thumb off on a table saw.
Oh.
But he was able to go get stitches and everything, and put it back on, and it's there, and it's living. It's living tissue, and it was just amazing to me that the human body can adapt and make changes and heal itself in ways like that. It's just, that in itself is amazing. So, being able to replace with something as complex as a penis and scrotum and it work
exactly.
properly.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, and if you read through the article, a lot of that functionality will come back. That's mind blowing.
It is.
All right.
Okay, I'm not going to make fun of any of that because that is pretty awesome.
No, exactly. Especially if it was you or somebody in your family. That's a miracle.
So let's move along to something else I can make fun of.
I'm sure we'll get there right after the break. How's that?
Yes.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with Hacks and Strange Stories. I remember when, and I think we've got one final question for you. Hang out with us. We'll be right back.
Take a fact-based journey through the cosmos with Astronomy Cast. Join me, Dr. Pamela Gay, and my co-host Fraser King help you show the universe today as we discuss not just what we know, but how we know it. Topics range from dark matter to why Pluto isn't a planet. Get your episodes today at astronomycast.com or look for us in iTunes.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. Trek, Larry Demchek, coming at you right from Portal 47 and all things Trekland. And you're listening to Technorama with Chuck and Craig.
Oh, I missed something.
What'd you miss?
I missed this.
Geek thoughts. When are they going to be done with the alphabet so we can get on with the beta bet?
I think I gave that one to you.
I think, yeah.
I know. I've been talking about the alphabet for a long time. It was when Gmail was way back in beta, and I said, I wonder if they ever have an alpha. And you know what's funny is Google's parent company is now Alphabet.
Yeah. True. Hey, it's a known fact.
It's a known fact. I heard it on Technorama. It must be true.
You may have thrown that way at me. Honestly, I don't remember. It's been so long ago. We've been doing this for so long.
I know those were recorded over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to feel old? I just had my nephew's daughter just turned 12.
Your nephew's daughter? Wow.
Yeah. Oh,
yep.
Kids are growing up, man.
Yeah, one day you will too.
And she's as old as my other nephew.
Right.
Anyway, we have some security news from Geekology. Oh, we didn't say what section we're in. We're in the Hacks and Strange Stories, right?
Yeah.
I think. And this one qualifies as a good hack. I mean, not a really intriguing hack, in my opinion. When I read this, I was more interested in the technology than, oh my gosh, it's a security breach. Like, how did they build that? What are the components?
Yeah, I was kind of half and half. I went, oh, that's cool. Wait, is it?
Not if it happens to you.
Yeah, that's
in
right.
security news, apparently all electronic hotel locks are easily hackable. Now, they're talking about the electronic ones that you hold up an RFID to. If you still insert a card, it might be a different story. Although that's got a swiper in it. Maybe that's not as tough as it looks. And obviously,
swiping.
Are there any hotels that still use keys, like the metal cut keys?
Probably few and far between. I don't think I've ever had one. Usually the ones I've been getting are ones where you insert it into the door, at least just a card.
Right, like the magnetic stripe, and it has to be in a certain direction.
Yeah, the only place I've been to that used an RFID, like on a bracelet, was like the Great Wolf Lodge. We went there one time.
We had some in Mexico too. Had some of those.
Yeah,
and I know Disney uses those a lot too. The remember the room keys that had holes in them? They were basically the plastic punch cards of hotel room keys.
No, I didn't see those.
You never saw those? I think those.
I wasn't
were
traveling
in
at that period
the
of
late
my life.
70s or 80s.
Right.
Yeah, it was narrower and longer than the ones we've got now, and they had a series of holes punched in them. and it must have been light activated or something to let the lock unlock.
Well, these RFID. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for the hotel in the vein that people leave and don't return the keys. So if you have metal keys cut, then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, well, that was the big problem with them is and a lot of the plastic, those sort of diamond shaped rhombus, if you will, tags always said, if found, drop in the mailbox and it'll get back to this particular hotel. The VinCard Vision locks are RFID based hotel locks. At this week's Infiltrate conference in Miami, Tomi Tominen and Timo Hirvonen, those might be Finnish names, from F-Secure will present a method for combining a $300 Proxmark RFID tool with any discarded key from a given hotel to derive the master keys that allow them to unlock every room in the hotel. So if somebody leaves one room key behind, they can read it and get in anywhere they want to go. That's a bit frightening, because you'd think the security on the app and the doors would be a little bit better than that.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to go to the door next to yours and open it up.
No, because your key doesn't have that information. But apparently, they can read information off of there that allows them to write or transmit that information again. Wow, that's kind of weird. Now, I have been playing around with some RFID readers, but now I really want to play around with them.
Well, was it our conference? I can't remember. They gave us cards and they had RFID on it, and I was able to read my card with my phone because I had Android and you could read the RFID stuff, and I was able to see the raw data. It was like a blob. I mean, you could kind of read it. So these cards are similar, I assume. So you should be able to read it if it's just regular RFID.
Well, there's different types of RFID, as I'm learning quickly, and your phone is not only a reader but also has an RFID in it.
It wasn't RFID on my phone. I'm sorry, NFC. It came with an the badge had an NFC tag on it. You could read it.
All right. We'll go with that. I'm still learning my way around some of these things.
Yeah.
It's estimated that the tool could be used to open any of the electronic lock systems used in 160,000 hotels in 160 countries. That sounds like a security risk. Maybe not as serious a security risk to me as a ninja suit with a pocket full of throwing stars, but hey, I'm one with the wind. Geekology always has some interesting narrative.
So what I would recommend is when you close your door to sleep at night, put your luggage in front of the door.
Well, no, you close the little metal hasp that...
Oh, that's right. There is one there.
Yes. I'll have that.
Right.
And when you leave your room, close it too.
Yeah, prop it open with the luggage.
No, you have your own electronic gadget that shoots darts at the person coming in.
Yeah, that's it.
Illegal intruder. Speaking of gadgets, I made my own little gadget.
What you got
I
there?
made a binary clock. Not just
hold it down a little bit.
Any binary clock.
Down. There we go.
Craig, that's for you. I'm going at the viewers on the stream.
Yeah,
There's two cameras in front of me.
Oh.
So if you look, I'm using a Wemos D1, which is an ESP8266 based device.
Okay.
And it has these stackable shields on it. So this is an LED matrix shield on it. Now, 00 is actually this coordinate down here. So my fun yesterday was to figure out how to rotate this. So I called this east because the power connector is facing to the right.
Okay.
This is south. This is north, and of course, and because this has Wi-Fi, I also loaded a little mini web server on there. So I can connect to this device right now, go into a web page and say, no, you're going to now use the west configuration, and it will realign the origin to put the dots on this side. I said, well, if somebody's sitting it on their desk like this and their power is over here, this doesn't do you any good. So it's a configurable. My next thought was it needs a gyroscope so it can do it all by itself in real time.
That is cool.
And your thought was when you tilt it, all the dots would fall down.
Yeah, you should have it kind of. They all kind of fall.
It was.
Yeah.
It was an arduous task in itself, figuring out when you do subtraction and when you do addition, and how do you rotate these bits, and which one's X and which one's Y.
Oh yeah.
That was yesterday's challenge. So this was kind of fun. The total cost of this is probably about $5. But these are fun little devices to work with.
See, that's the kind of device I need that I can put a switch on, and the web server will tell me the switch is on or off. Then I can put that in the garage and know whether the door is open or not.
Yes, you could do that. You could do that with either that device, or you could do that with really anything that's ESP8266 based. A Node MCU. There's I don't think the Arduino Mini has it, but these are the cool thing is these are all fully supported by the Arduino IDE. You just say, I'm using this particular board. You program the same language. It compiles the same. It downloads the same. And
Did you say it was kind of like C or something? No.
It's C++. But you can use C in C++. I don't know much about C++, but I know enough C to be dangerous. I had to remind myself what you actually do to pass pointers in and use them. That's 30-year-old knowledge. I haven't had to scratch that itch in a long time.
I know. You have to. Hey, thank goodness for Google, right?
Yes, I agree. Let's see. I want to make an array of structures. How did that look again?
Yeah.
And at one point, I caught myself typing var instead of int. Just my JavaScript was sneaking in.
Let's say we write JavaScript for 90% of what we do at work. So
yeah, I was like, what do you mean there's no parse int?
Parse int.
Oh wait, you don't have to do that in C. It just knows it's an integer variable and drops the remainder. Okay, that's better. Mm-hmm. All right, we also have one other story. Where are we? We are moving right through this show. Wow, it's getting crazy late. We have one more. Would you like this one?
Sure. Which I thought this was kind of intriguing. I wanted to, because we were talking about albums and the record pops and the music, before, speaking of the HD vinyl. So this is a cassette tape simulator that makes your MP3 sound like you're listening to them on a retro Walkman.
And then it gets all jammed up.
Yeah. Oh, man, my MP3 got stuck in the thing again.
Got jammed.
Yeah. Get the pencil. So released in 1979, the original Sony Walkman completely changed how people listen to their music. Your tunes were free to go anywhere and sound like complete garbage. I wouldn't say that so much. But the quality of the music on cassette tapes can't compete with today's digital formats. But if people still like the sound of crackly records, surely there are people who miss the acoustic aesthetics of cassette tapes. Don't waste your time hunting down blank cassettes, broken Walkmans on eBay. However, if you've got a browser and a web connection, like me, a simple site called WebCassette will load and degrade your digital music files so the sound quality harkens back to the time before compact discs.
Excuse me?
Hit the market.
This sounds like a way for them to get your music files. Just upload them to us and we'll play them back at a degraded. Yeah. Look at all the audio files we've got.
I'll have to download something and throw it up there just to see what it does, but because I haven't tried it yet. Well, wait, there's a sample.
It has a sample? Did I miss
actually
that? Is that what's in the little video window?
No, there's a. Can you play audio?
Yes.
Click on the web cassette link, and it'll bring it up. And you just hit play, and they already got one loaded
cassette tape. Where's the web cassette link? Web cassette via Cult of Mac. Okay. Let's see.
It's in the middle of.
And it has a sample?
Yeah, I just hit play button. Hit the play button. And you can change the tape quality.
It's skipping.
The head quality. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Noise reduction off, low, high.
Tape quality. Is this a chromium oxide tape? Where's the CRO2 button? Tape select. There it is, chrome. Ooh, metal has more range.
Remember, like in a Maxell.
I think we're having a
PDK.
bandwidth issue on my cassette. That was just broken and horrible.
Yeah.
Does
Anyway.
it come with a virtual pencil?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You know, one time I had a cassette player, and I was like, I kept thinking the quality sounded bad, and like it degraded over time. And I went in with I got the idea to realign the heads with a screwdriver.
Yes.
You could realign them, and man, it was like night and day. Just when it's one of those things that just they got the bright idea. It's like, well, there's a little hole there, like it's meant for the screwdriver to pass through the head. Let's give it a shot. Sure enough, worked right out.
Hey, guess who's watching on the live stream?
Who?
We forgot to give our shout out to the chat room. Kevin Devon.
Yeah, he's on there. John Clifford, John Miller Jr.
Yep.
My uncle Charles Stepp jumped in there for a minute. I remember seeing his name. Trina Perry. I went to high school with her.
Do we have anybody?
Fred Smith. Went to high school with him.
Okay, you got all your friends on there.
Yeah, Fred Smith.
They now know what a huge success you've grown into since high school.
Yeah, podcaster for umpteen years.
This is where your career aspirations have led you. All that education.
Dead end road.
What's that?
To a dead end road.
Yep. Podcasting out of your parents' basement. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Craig and Chuck are the Wayne's World of the internet. All right, we have...
Wait a minute. Kevin Devon, he must be listening to a different show. He said, "Greetings, gentlemen."
It's on mute.
Yeah. Right.
All right, we do want to give a huge shout out to our patrons. These are the people that bring us the funding that keeps this show going. Thank you very much to the likes of Kyle Nishioka, Abner Braverman. Some of these people have been listening for practically this whole 13 years. It's great. Ben Vaughn, Mike Wills, Megapodtastic. Other newcomers include Night Gig Studios, Gary Lindros, John Clifford, Leon. Yes, that Leon. John Noble, not that John Noble.
Okay.
Chris MC. I think we now have a match for not that John Noble, but it's that Leon.
Yeah, that Leon.
What? Well, there's. I work with a woman named Lily Lee, and her Instagram handle is and Twitter is that Lily Lee.
Nice.
Chris MC, Alexis Duran, Saturday Morning Media, Steve Therian, Yorga Schwarwen, and we want your name here in this last empty box on this bottom row. And then maybe 2 or 3 more so we can start a new row just to drive Craig nuts. What do you say? Yeah. For as little as $1 a show, you can help
mess
fund
with
this
my
show.
OCD.
Yes. Let's mess with Craig for $1 a show.
Hey, that's a bargain, I think.
If we get some number like 25, he's going to try going with a table of 5x5, but I'm not going to let him. If we do get the 16th one, we'll go with the 5x5 rule. Let's keep screwing with them. You can be one of our patrons by going over to patreon.com. Technorama Podcast, just like it shows, right there on the bottom of the screen. Again, help us out, and you'll get your name in not only in the show, but you get customized, exclusive content just for the patrons. And we had a whopper of a topic last week.
I know.
Yeah, it was 30 minutes long. Try not to do that too often. We know you're busy. We know you have lots of other podcasts to listen to. And we appreciate you partaking and helping us out. Just go over to patreon.com/Technorama Podcast if you want to be part of the action there. All right, let's do away with that. Oh, the band ended a little quickly on that one. Well, we're done? We're at the question of the week already?
Yes, I'm actually.
Okay, this is a question and as well as an image. And the question is, has science gone too far? From Geeks Are Sexy. They bring us the Kraft Dinner Flavored Cream Oreo. It's the cheddar, it's Kraft Mac and Cheese Oreo. So chocolate and cheese? Okay.
Yeah.
This is most likely a Photoshop job, but if it's real, heck yes, it has indeed gone too far. However, there's few people I know, including me, that would definitely buy a pack just out of curiosity, and I'm pretty sure it would be very, very gross, but who knows? We might be surprised. Bacon-flavored Oreos would be pretty awesome, right? Right? Because combining bacon with
anything's
anything,
good with bacon.
not anything.
Really?
Not anything.
Oranges, maybe? I don't know. Name it. Name something.
Bacon and Colgate toothpaste.
Okay, you got me there. Orange juice and toothpaste do not mix either.
No, they don't. Orange juice and not much.
Well, so this kind of led me to the question of the week. In what way has science gone too far?
Right.
In what way do you believe that, they just went nuts like the...
As the other thing that I found interesting was if you scale this image down far enough so that you can barely even see the pixels, you just see the blue and orange and brown, it kind of looks like SpongeBob puking.
That's a good note to leave on.
It does. It looks like
it
looks like he's hurling up his mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Trust me on this one, folks. But you can play along too. That's just what I saw. It's pareidolia in the wrong direction. Yes. In what way has science gone too far is our question of the week. We want to know from you. We'll ask it a little later on Facebook as well. But if you've got a question and you want to know the answer, no, wait, it works the other way. We've got a question. We want to know your answer. Call us on the listener line, 707-530-2428. We haven't heard from you in a very long time.
Or send us in a suggestion for the question of the week.
There we go. If you don't like our questions, send us your own, and we'll consider them. We're not making any guarantees at this point.
This is how we change the world. Send your own in.
Wow. We're flipping this show on its head every week.
That's right.
It's more like it got dropped on its head.
That's right. That's what it is.
You can also send us an email. Find us on the inner tubes at, YouTube and Facebook, Twitter. There's also our website at chuckchat.com/Technorama. If you only make it to the chuckchat.com page, you can figure out the rest from there. It's like one more click and you're there. So thank you very much, Craig. Let's play that music and do the outro
Thank you,
stuff.
Chuck.
Ooh.
Thank you, Chuck.
Now, we will not have a show next week because both Craig and I will be at our work conference that we spoke of at the top of the show.
Yes.
However, the following week,
yes,
we record this May 13th. Craig will be in studio. So, no latency. You gotta see if we can do that bad Japanese theater thing where you're talking out of the...
I can't understand. Yeah.
We'll put a webcam on him we can green screen that background in. Take a picture and bring it with you.
Yeah, take a picture of my room. That's right.
And then I'll put it behind me, and then you can be sitting in the studio, something like that. Anyway, it's time for the binary high five. You know what to do.
Okay. 101.
Thanks for watching and listening, everyone.
See you in a week or two.
Hey, nice finishing image with the cassette. I forgot we had that. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, on Facebook and YouTube for watching. Appreciate you showing up, adding your comments to the live stream. Kevin was indeed there. He said he's watching TV. We are on mute. Okay. I feel so much love now. Thanks,
Hey,
man.
Kevin, you should come to Phoenix on the 11th and join us.
Yeah, just pop on down. Come on.
Yeah.
You can share a room with Craig.
Yeah.
What the heck? All right. Yeah, we are overdue for a visit to or from Kevin. Thank you, everybody, and we are going to sign off.
All right.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye.